Archaeology and the Individual Part 1, the data part. Okay, archaeology and the individual. What do I mean by that? So now in archaeology, we've focused in where we talked about the environment first, the sort of setting of the scene. Then we talked about the village, the community, kind of zooming in a little. Okay, where people lived, a lot on location. Now we're zooming all the way in to a specific person. Who was this person? That's where we're going. And so for part 1 here, we want to look at the data. What data do you have to try and tell me who this person was in the past? Now, if we're looking for the data of an individual, what's the most important archaeological find that we must have when talking about an individual? I'm going to go with the individual. So, of course, the most important thing to have is the human remains themselves. They will tell you all kinds of things about the past. Now, of course, there's a lot of ethical issues here, and this is something that's really interesting and important to talk about, the ethics in archaeology. And this is just going to come back to haunt us even more as we go, which is a good thing. So we want to talk about, is it right or wrong to do this? But however right or wrong it is, the flat truth is the body itself gives you more data than anything else. You can think about this, and you'll understand. The body will give you stuff like how sick or not was this person over time, how old were they when they died, and sort of so on and so forth. There's so much there. Genetics, if the DNA is still preserved. So we want the human remains themselves. Now, it may be in sort of a more burial context, so we get the burial, right, with it. And also, I guess number 2 on the list, besides the human themselves, is the associated artifacts. What artifacts are found with the burial? And right there, you can see how much information those things are going to give, right? The body itself and then the associated artifacts. The artifacts, of course, can tell you all kinds of things about religion and ritual and the person themselves, what maybe they were a specialist in or what they did in life, So we have those. What else? It's like, man, seems kind of like a short list, right? If you're thinking about human remains, and you've excavated these things, what other data can you get besides what the body itself will tell you and the associated artifacts? Number 3, location. Where the body is. Not only where it is kind of on the landscape, is it at the top of the hill, is it in a cemetery with others, this kind of thing. The actual positioning of the body can tell you a lot, right? The location in terms of is it laid out really straight like this or this? Is the head pointed at like a cardinal direction? You'll get this a lot. Like maybe all the bodies in the cemetery, the heads are pointing north for some religious reason. It's really interesting, right? Of course, if the body is placed really kind of akimbo and really sort of an odd final resting spot, that will tell you things about maybe what happened at time of death, right? Maybe it wasn't planned. So you get data from that, just the positioning. What else? So we got the body itself, we got the associated artifacts, we have the location of the body in its most basic sense. What else? God, what else could tell us about a person? Written records, if you got them. If you got them, you're lucky. And actually, a written record could be the headstone itself, right? If there's a headstone left over, a born date and death date, that kind of stuff. It's great. In my experience, I've never worked on a burial that had any kind of written records. But if you got it, use them. That's great. That's great data in terms of who this person was. Finally, step 5, I guess, I would just do a catch-all category of other. What other kind of data can you get for this burial? There might be like an ethnographic study of the culture itself that might inform you on the burial. There might be some sort of rock art or something nearby that might inform you about the rituals that go with the burial or something like that. So there can always be, other bits around. But in my experience, it's all about kind of 1, 2, and 3. It's the burial itself, any artifacts that are with it, and then its actual positioning in the ground. That's the step 1 of the data that you're going to use in order to reconstruct who was this person. Now, ethics is really kind of secret final step here. We always want to be respectful when we deal with the dead, when we deal with human remains. It's actually a really heavy thing to deal with. And you're going to want to joke about it, right? Even on an archaeological project, the natural response is to joke. The natural response is to be like, put some funny glasses on the skeleton or give it a funny name or this kind of thing. Why do we do that? Why do we joke? It's because we don't want to die. I am absolutely in the please don't die camp. I don't want to die. And when we see human remains, dead people, we're looking at our own mortality. I know it sounds like I'm over the top on this. I know it sounds like, oh, dude, Kinkella, shut up with your, come on. Oh, I'm scared. I don't want to die. You're damn right you are. You're scared and you don't want to die. So you're going to try and joke it off because it is so serious. In some ways, it's the most serious thing there is. Death. And it is literally staring you in the face. So as a professional archaeologist, you kind of have to stop that moment where you want to joke it off. It's a way to relieve tension. It's tense. And just analyze, the human remains and do get the information from them because it literally is the dead talking to you in the only way that they can with the actual data. So I'm never a person who's here to be like, oh, never dig up human remains. No, I'm not here to say always dig up human remains, but I am here to say do it when necessary to inform future generations. I think that the dead would really want that.